Welcome back to the deep dive. I have to be honest with you. The stack of notes on my desk today is vibrating.
Vibrating. That's a good way to put it.
I mean, literally, the story we are about to tell you feels electric. It's one of those case studies that makes you stop, put down your coffee, and just question the boundaries of how we think the world actually works.
It really does. And usually on these deep dives, when we look at case studies, we're looking at business logic.
Right.
Or market trends.
Right. Political maneuvering, cause and effect.
Exactly. A plus B equals C. But today we are looking at a story that, quite frankly, shouldn't be possible.
Yeah, if you look at this story on a spreadsheet, if you look at it through the lens of a bank manager or a real estate economist, the math just does not math.
It violates pretty much every standard rule of financial planning and market logic. It's an anomaly.
It's a glitch in the matrix.
It's a massive glitch.
We are talking about a case study of someone who managed to buy their absolute dream home. And I don't mean a starter home or a fixer-upper that needs a decade of love.
No, not at all.
We're talking about a luxury villa, a massive property with a garden full of jasmine flowers in a very high-end neighborhood. And they did this despite having effectively zero budget for it.
Well, zero budget relative to the asset, yes. They weren't exactly destitute, but they were miles and miles away from luxury villa money.
Right. I don't mean they had a low budget. I mean, based on the source material, the math said impossible.
Completely impossible.
The context here is 2024. The market is volatile. Prices are skyrocketing, inflation is eating everyone alive, and here is our protagonist. They have some savings, sure.
And a couple of old cars to sell?
Right, 2 old cars. But in their target market, that buys you a small apartment in the suburbs.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, if you squint.
If you're really lucky and if you're willing to commute 2 hours every day.
And yet, at the end of this story, they are holding the deed to a villa. It sounds like magic.
It sounds exactly like a fairy tale.
But our mission today for you, the listener, is to strip away that fairy tale gloss. We aren't here to say, just believe in magic.
No, we are here to unpack the specific step-by-step methodology used in this case study.
Because what we have here isn't just a story about luck. It's a protocol.
Protocol is the key word there. It's so easy to dismiss this as positive thinking or just wishing really hard.
Oh, totally. The whole good vibes only thing.
Right. But when you analyze the source material, there is a rigorous psychological and behavioral structure at play here.
This person didn't just sit on the couch hoping.
No, they engaged in a very specific set of actions. It's almost like an algorithm that bridged the gap between impossible and assigned deed.
So we're going to break this down into the main pillars we found in the source. We'll talk about the deep cleaning, which is the mental detox required before you even start.
That part is crucial.
And we're going to talk about the dream notebook technique, which is way more specific than just your average daily journaling.
Much more specific.
And then we have to talk about action and surrender, where you move through the physical world completely ignoring what your logical brain is screaming at you.
And, of course, we have to talk about the synchronicity. The Jasmine.
Oh, man, the Jasmine.
Yeah.
That is the part that literally gave me chills.
It's like a movie script.
It really is. We will get to the Jasmine synchronicity later because it is the payoff of the whole method. But before we dive into the steps, I want to set the tone here. You're the expert. You analyze patterns for a living. Is this magic? Or is there a biological mechanism we can point to?
Well, if you want to get clinical about it, we're talking about the reticular activating system, or the RAS in the brain.
The RAS.
Yes. We're talking about confirmation bias, and we're talking about deep emotional regulation.
Okay, so not a magic wand.
Not a magic wand. The source material frames it in terms of energy and vibration, which are very common terms in the manifestation field.
Yeah.
But if you look at the actual mechanics of what they're doing, it's about programming the brain to filter reality differently.
Filtering reality. I like that. Can we unpack that a bit for the listener? Because I think people hear manifestation and they instantly think, I'm just going to close my eyes and a Ferrari will appear in my driveway.
Exactly. And that's the misconception. But it is biological. Think about it this way. Your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of data every single second.
Just an overwhelming amount of information.
Right. The color of the wall, the hum of the fridge, the sensation of your clothes on your skin,
The traffic outside.
the temperature of the room. You can't process it all consciously. You'd go insane.
Did you be catatonic?
You really would. So the RAS acts like the bouncer at a very exclusive club. It decides what gets in.
It's the filter. It decides what's actually relevant to your survival.
It's the filter. And here's the absolute kicker. If you program that bouncer to look for impossibility or lack of funds or struggle,
Which most of us do subconsciously.
which most of us do, that is all you will see. You literally will not see the opportunities right in front of you because your brain filters them out as irrelevant noise.
Because it considers opportunity to be a distraction from your core belief of struggle.
Precisely.
So if I walk around believing I can't afford a house, my brain will actually hide affordable houses from my awareness.
In a way, yes. Or it will highly highlight the news stories about soaring interest rates and completely ignore the news stories about seller financing or market dips.
It confirms your bias.
It fiercely confirms your bias, but if you program it, and I mean rigorously program it, as this narrator did to look for a specific villa with jasmine flowers, the bouncer starts letting different information through the door.
It starts scanning the environment for jasmine and villa and opportunity.
Yes, it changes the fundamental search parameters of your waking reality.
Okay, so let's look at how this narrator actually programmed the bouncer.
Yeah.
Because it didn't start with the house.
It never starts with the house.
It didn't start with shopping on real estate apps.
Yeah.
It started with what the source calls closing parentheses.
Yes, the deep cleaning.
This feels like the part everyone wants to skip.
Oh, everyone wants to skip to the shopping. Everyone wants the dessert without eating the vegetables first.
Right.
But you cannot build a skyscraper on a swamp. Before the narrator could even think about the house, they had to deal with what they called energy leaks.
I love this concept of energy leaks. It's the idea that we are all walking around with a battery that's only half charged.
Because the other half is being used to hold on to old stuff.
Exactly.
Precisely. The source argues that holding grudges, and we're talking against parents, ex-partners, friends, even that old teacher who slighted you in 3rd grade.
We all have one of those.
We do, and holding on to that drains up to 50% of your available energy.
50%? That's huge.
Think about that. If you are trying to manifest a massive, impossible change in your life, like buying a luxury villa with no money,
Sure.
you need 100% of your battery.
You need every single ounce of horsepower.
You need it all. You cannot do it if half your RAM is occupied by a background program called I'm Still Mad at My Ex from 10 years ago.
That makes so much sense when you put it like that.
Yeah.
It's like trying to run high-end video editing software on a laptop that has 500 Chrome tabs open.
The system just crashes.
Yeah, you get the spinning wheel of death.
Exactly. So the very first step the narrator took was a radical forgiveness protocol. And I want to stress this to you listening right now because the source makes a very important distinction here.
What's the distinction?
This is not about the other person.
Okay.
It's not about letting them off the hook for bad behavior. It's not about saying what you did was okay.
Right, because I think that's exactly where people get stuck. They think, well, I can't forgive him. He was a total jerk.
Or she stole from me, or they ruined my life.
Yeah.
The source says it simply doesn't matter if they were a jerk. The anger you are holding on to is burning your house down, not theirs.
Wow.
They are probably sleeping perfectly fine. You are the one drinking the poison and expecting them to die.
That's a powerful metaphor.
Forgiveness, in this specific protocol, is a selfish act. In the best possible way. It is purely about reclaiming your own energy.
So what's the actual technique? Because the narrator didn't call all these people up, right? This wasn't an apology tour.
No.
They didn't invite their enemies out to lunch.
Yo, God, no. You don't need to call them. You don't need to text them.
So what do you do?
You visualize them, you close your eyes, you bring them into your mental space, and you say everything you need to say to them.
Out loud.
Internally or out loud in an empty room if you need to. You get angry, you cry, you shout, you let the pressure valve completely release.
So you're not just pretending you're fine with it.
Not at all. You acknowledge the pain they caused. You don't spiritualize it away immediately. You have to feel it to heal it.
You have the confrontation, but just in the safety of your own mind.
Yes. And then comes the critical step. You look at them in your mind and you say, I thank you for your role in my life, and I release you.
It's a transaction.
It is a transaction. You are taking your energy back. The source uses the exact metaphor of closing a parenthesis.
Closing a parenthesis.
Right. If you have an open parenthesis in a sentence, the sentence is incomplete. It's just hanging there.
It creates cognitive load.
Exactly. You have a constant low-level anxiety until you close it and move on to the next paragraph.
And the narrator mentions doing this for everyone. Parents, siblings, exes, closing all the parentheses. It sounds exhausting, honestly.
It is exhausting for a day or two.
But liberating.
Incredibly liberating. It's like cleaning out a garage that's been full of junk for 20 years.
And it leaves you feeling lighter.
You feel physically lighter. The narrator describes a sensation of actual physical weight lifting off their shoulders.
So once you clear those external grudges, you're not done. You have to turn the mirror on yourself.
That's the harder part. The narrator talks about identifying the masks.
This is the part that requires what we call radical honesty.
Yes.
Because it's easy to say, I want a big house. It's very, very hard to sit down and admit, I feel worthless.
Or I am deeply jealous of people who have money.
Or I am terrified of being seen as a failure. The narrator actually had to sit down and write these deep, dark insecurities out on paper.
And this is tough work. Most of us spend our entire lives doing everything we can not to look at these things.
We run from them.
We do. The narrator wrote down things like, I am invisible, I can't make money, I am a victim of circumstance.
Or they're heavy.
They are the shadow beliefs that run the show behind the scenes. If you don't bring them into the light, they will sabotage you.
You try to build the villa, and your shadow self just kicks over the bricks when you aren't looking.
Exactly. And the source details a very specific ritual for this, which I found fascinating because it involves physical destruction.
The burning ritual.
Yes, the burning ritual. You write these negative beliefs down on paper. You don't type them on your phone or your laptop.
You have to write them with a pen.
You write them with a pen. There's a deep neurological connection between the hand and the brain. You make it physical.
Okay, so you write them down. Then what?
Then you put the paper in a bowl, a fire-safe bowl, please, and you burn it. You light a match, and you literally watch it turn to ash.
Fire is such a primal symbol of transformation.
Since the caveman days, fire means change. It alters states.
It transforms matter from one state to a completely different one.
It does. And this is the detail that really makes the psychological trick stick. You flush the ashes down the toilet.
The toilet. It's so unglamorous.
Extremely.
So pedestrian. Why not scatter them in the wind or something?
It is unglamorous, and that is exactly the point. You are disposing of waste.
Emotional waste.
Emotional waste. Your subconscious mind speaks in symbols, not in logic. Watching the paper burn and then physically flushing it away is a massive, powerful signal to the subconscious.
It says this file is deleted.
This file's deleted. This narrative is completely over.
It's visceral. You hear the flush, you watch the water go down. It's gone.
It's not in the trash can where you can dig it back out later.
It is gone into the sewers.
Gone. And that finality is exactly what the subconscious craves to actually let go.
Okay, so we flushed the old narrative. We've closed the parentheses on the grudges. Now we have a void.
A clean slate.
We have empty space. But how do we fill it? Because as they say, nature abhors a vacuum.
You have to replace the code. You can't just hit delete and leave it blank. You have to install new software right away.
And the source uses a technique called inversion for this.
Inversion, which is exactly what it sounds like.
You take the bad belief and you just flip it.
Right. So I am invisible because I shine like a star.
Okay.
I can't make money becomes long. Money flows to me easily and with immense joy.
I'm afraid becomes I am safe and powerful.
Exactly. You create the exact opposite, the polar opposite of your core limiting belief.
But simply writing this down once on a piece of paper isn't enough, is it?
No, not at all.
We have to talk about the audio loop strategy, because this is where our narrator turns into a bit of a biohacker.
A total biohacker. This isn't just standing in the mirror saying affirmations. This is Theta state programming. The source is incredibly specific about this.
Walk us through it.
You record these new, positive, inverted beliefs in your own voice.
Not a professional voice actor.
No, not a guru, not some calming spa music with a British narrator guiding you. Your own voice.
Why your own voice, though? Because I hate the sound of my own voice on a recording. I think most people do.
We all do. We cringe when we hear it back.
Yeah, it sounds whiny or weird.
But your subconscious inherently trusts your voice more than anyone else's on the planet.
Really?
Yes. It recognizes it as self. If a stranger tells you you are extremely wealthy, your brain might reject it outright.
It might say, who is this guy? What does he know about my bank account?
Exactly. But if you tell yourself you are wealthy, it bypasses a certain level of critical defense. It sounds like an internal thought just echoing back.
Wow, okay. And the timing of this matters too, right? This isn't something you listen to on the commute to work.
Or while you're doing the dishes. No.
So when do you listen?
The instructions are to listen to this loop for 30 to 60 minutes while you are falling asleep.
While falling asleep.
This is the key to the whole biohack. When you are drifting off, your brain waves literally slow down. They go from beta, which is your alert, awake, stress state,
Right.
down to alpha, which is relaxed, and then down into theta.
Theta state. That's the dream state, isn't it?
It's the hypnagogic state. It's that twilight zone right before you completely cross over into sleep.
Okay.
And in theta, the critical faculty, that logical guard dog in your brain that says, that's not true, you're broke, that guard dog is asleep.
It's offline.
It's completely offline. The conscious mind checks out, but the subconscious is wide open, and it is recording everything.
So the back door is literally left open. The security guard is on a coffee break.
Exactly. You are literally hacking your own operating system while the firewall is down for maintenance.
That's the dream.
You are feeding these new instructions directly into the subconscious core. And the narrator did this religiously every single night.
It's like learning a language while you sleep. But the language is success and abundance.
And repetition is crucial here.
Because doing it once won't rewrite a lifetime of bad code.
Repetition is how the brain learns. Over time, the subconscious accepts these new commands as absolute truth.
And once the subconscious accepts it as truth, what happens?
It starts directing the RAS, that bouncer we talked about, to find evidence for it in the real world.
Okay, so we're detoxing the old junk. We're programming the new software while we sleep.
Yes.
Now we get to the actual tool that drives the manifestation of the house, the dream notebook.
The dream notebook. And I really want to be clear for you listening. This wasn't just a random scrap of paper.
It wasn't the Notes app on their phone.
No, the source emphasizes the physicality of the object.
The narrator went out and bought a specific notebook just for this purpose. I think it had a crown on the cover or something special.
It was treated like a sacred object. It wasn't the same notebook you use for grocery lists or your daily to-do lists.
Because rituals matter.
Rituals signal intent to the brain. By buying a specific notebook, you are telling your brain, this is important. Pay attention.
You're separating it from the mundane reality of everyday life.
You are. And then there's the coding of the book.
This part is wild.
On the very first page, the narrator wrote a contract with reality. They wrote, everything written in this notebook has happened.
Past tense. That seems to be a huge recurring theme here.
Past tense is entirely non-negotiable in this method.
But why?
Yeah.
Why can't you just write, I want a house?
Because wanting implies lacking. If you say, I want, you are affirming to the universe and to your brain, I don't have.
Right.
The universe, or your subconscious, however you prefer to frame it, responds to I don't have by giving you more of the experience of not having.
That is a real brain twister. So you essentially have to lie to yourself.
It's not a lie. You have to speak the language of completion.
Yeah.
You are stating a future truth as if it is already present.
You write, I bought the house.
You write, I bought the house. And there is a specific magic phrase that had to be written at the end of every single entry.
In red pen. Right.
Yes, in red pen.
And the phrase is, thank you, it happened, it happened, it
General
happened.
completion. It completely shuts down the doubt. It happened. It puts a hard period at the end of the manifestation.
Okay, let's talk about the entry itself, because this is where the story gets really, really specific. The narrator didn't just write, I want a nice place to live.
No. And this is where most people fail when they try this stuff. They are way too vague.
They say, I want a better life.
Or I want to be rich. But what does that actually look like? The brain cannot latch onto the word better.
It's too abstract.
The brain needs data. Hard data.
And the narrator provided that data.
Intense data, they wrote, I bought a villa with a garden, but not just any garden. A garden filled with the scent of jasmine flowers.
Jasmine. Why jasmine specifically?
The source notes the narrator just loved the smell, but it served as a sensory anchor.
The sensory anchor.
Right. They wrote about waking up to the smell of jasmine drifting through the window, hosting dinners for loved ones in the garden.
Hearing the laughter of friends around the table.
Exactly. It was a fully rendered 3D sensory scene in their mind. They included the smell, the sound, the feeling of the air.
And the routine. This wasn't a one-time journal entry they shoved in a drawer.
Morning and evening, every single day, without fail.
It's about saturation.
Total saturation. But here is the absolutely crucial part. The part that takes it from just creative writing to actual manifesting in the source's view.
What's the secret sauce?
After writing the entry, the narrator would physically close the notebook, place a hand over their heart, close their eyes for 15 to 20 seconds, and feel the emotion of already living there.
So the feeling is the fuel.
The writing is the map. The
Yeah.
feeling is the fuel.
Okay.
If you write, I have a luxury villa, but in your chest you feel I am broke and stressed out, you are broadcasting static.
You're sending entirely mixed signals to the bouncer.
You are. You have to generate the feeling of profound gratitude and relief before the physical event ever happens.
But that is so hard. I mean, how do you feel relief when you literally don't have the money? How do you feel safe when your current rent is due tomorrow?
That is the discipline. That is the actual work of this protocol.
It's mental gymnastics.
It is. You have to use your imagination to trigger the chemical response of joy in your body, completely independent of your current reality.
Like athletes do.
Exactly like athletes do. Olympic skiers visualize the entire run. They feel the wind. They feel the gold medal around their neck long before they ever leave the starting gate.
This is the exact same mechanic.
Exact same.
Which brings us to the biggest obstacle in this whole story. Reality, logic. Because while the narrator is doing all this beautiful writing and feeling jasmine flowers, the bank account is still saying zero.
Right. And this brings us to part 4, which is the battle with logic.
And it really is a battle.
We have to look at the harsh financial reality here. The narrator had been married for over 20 years and had never owned a home.
They lived in a nice place, but they were just renting.
Renting. They had some moderate savings, maybe enough for a standard down payment on a really small apartment in a distant suburb.
And they had 2 older cars they could sell.
Right. But they didn't want a distant suburb. They wanted a villa in Çekmeköy, which is a very high-end district in Istanbul.
So the math is just laughable. It's like me saying, hey, I have $10 in my pocket. I'd like to buy a brand new Ferrari, please.
And the narrator's mind knew this. The internal monologue was constantly arguing with them.
Saying things like, you can't afford this.
Who do you think you are? This is impossible.
There's no secret inheritance coming. You didn't buy a lottery ticket.
This is what the source calls the how trap. We get so obsessed with how it will logically happen that we kill the manifestation.
So how did they deal with that very loud, very logical voice? Did they fight it?
Fighting it usually makes it much stronger.
Because whatever you resist persists.
Exactly. If you argue with your doubt, you are engaging with it. You are giving it validity and energy.
Okay, so what's the source's tactic?
The source advises a technique of total detachment. You treat the logical mind like a TV playing in the background of a room.
Oh, I like that.
You can't turn it off completely. You need logic to cross the street safely. You need logic to do your taxes.
Right, you can't be totally delusional.
But you can turn the volume all the way down regarding your dreams.
Just mute the TV.
Just mute it. You acknowledge it's there. You say, thank you, mind. That is your opinion. But I know it has already happened.
You don't engage in the debate.
You just completely dismiss the premise of the argument.
But then reality threw a massive curveball, the Maltepe disappointment. This is such a classic plot twist in any hero's journey.
It really is. So they started looking for houses, and they found one.
But it wasn't the dream villa.
No. It was a good enough apartment in a completely different area called Maltepe.
It was the logical choice.
It was logical. It was within the absolute upper stretch of their actual budget. It made perfect sense on paper.
It was the safe, realistic compromise.
It was the compromise.
Yeah.
And they tried to buy it. They sent the husband to negotiate the deal. They were ready to settle for it.
But this feels like fate interfering. They were just too slow, or they didn't negotiate aggressively enough, and the house was sold to someone else out from under them.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And the narrator was devastated, right?
Crushed. Absolutely crushed. Because in that moment, the logical mind turns the volume up to 10 and screams, see, you couldn't even get the compromise house.
You're definitely not getting the villa now.
You are going to be a renter forever. It's a moment of total emotional collapse.
The source mentions the narrator sitting in the car, just furious at the husband, furious at the world.
Yes, furious. But this is exactly where the training kicked in.
Okay.
This separates the novice from the master of this technique. Instead of spiraling into a deep depression for months, which the narrator admits they used to do in the past, they forced a shift.
Within minutes. Within minutes or hours, they quickly reframed it.
How do you even do that? That seems impossible in the actual moment of grief.
They said to themselves, if that door closed, it means something much better is coming.
That is a brutally hard pivot to make when you're crying in your car over a lost house.
It requires immense ironclad mental discipline. They simply refuse to accept the loss as a loss.
They decided to interpret it as redirection.
Exactly. They told themselves, the universe blocked this apartment because my villa is waiting for me.
And almost immediately after making that mental shift, they saw a sign in the real world.
A literal physical sign. I believe the source mentions it was election season, and there was a banner or some graffiti right there on the street that said, "Everything will be beautiful."
Wow. Talk about confirmation bias working in your favor.
Exactly. The RAS locked right onto that sign. It reinforced the new belief. It said, look, here's a message from reality.
Okay, so they take that as the nudge. They get back on the horse.
And they go right back to the notebook.
Jasmine Villa. Jasmine Villa. And then we hit part 5. The manifestation. The story takes a turn here that just feels completely scripted.
The absolute climax. The narrator is scrolling through real estate listings, and they find one in Sequoia.
The dream neighborhood.
The dream neighborhood. But the price is weird. It's suspiciously low. It is priced basically like an apartment, not a luxury villa.
And the spouse, the voice of pure reason, says, you're reading the numbers wrong.
Or it's a scam. Or it's a typo. Don't get your hopes up.
And logically, the spouse is 100% right.
Yes. In a volatile market, a villa listed at an apartment price is a massive red flag. It usually means there's legal trouble, or the foundation is sinking, or the title deed is a mess.
But the narrator insists.
They insist. They say, I don't know how, I just know this is ours.
So they call the agent, and here we go. This is my absolute favorite part of the whole source material. What is the real estate agent's name?
The real estate agent's name is Jasmine, which is Turkish for Jasmine.
Come on. Are you kidding me?
You literally cannot make this up. The narrator had been writing jasmine flowers in their notebook morning and night for weeks.
And the literal gatekeeper to the physical house is named Jasmine.
It's incredible.
That is, I mean, even if you are the most hardcore skeptic listening to this, that is a heavy coincidence that knocks the wind right out of you.
It's a massive statistical anomaly, certainly. But the narrator takes it a step further. This is the action part of Action and Surrender.
What do they do?
Before even seeing the house in person, before knowing if the price is even real, the narrator saves the agent's number in their phone.
But they don't save it as Jasmine Real Estate.
No. They save it as the agent of the house we bought.
Past tense again?
The house we bought, not the house we might buy, or the house we're viewing.
Absolute conviction.
They are programming their phone, which is essentially an extension of their mind at this point, with the reality they want. Every time they look at that contact, it reinforces the belief.
And they did a visualization before the viewing too, didn't they?
Yes. Before driving over to the viewing, the narrator sat down, closed their eyes, and pictured shaking hands with the owner.
Signing the papers.
Feeling the joy of the keys in their hand. They pre-lived the event. They rehearsed the absolute victory.
So they go to the viewing, they walk in. It is a villa. It's not a scam.
It's a real villa.
It is in the dream neighborhood. And they walk out into the garden.
And you know what's there.
It is literally filled with jasmine flowers. Exactly as written in the notebook.
The smell hits them the second they step outside.
The sensory detail that was programmed into the RAS is now physically present in their environment.
I can't even imagine what that felt like in that moment.
To smell the notebook entry in real life, it must have felt like the most intense deja vu.
It must have been overwhelming. The narrator mentions getting chills all over their body. It was the confirmation.
It was the moment where the internal reality superimposed directly onto the external reality.
Exactly. But there was still the very real issue of the money.
Right, the small, tiny detail of, hey, we can't actually afford this.
But here is where the surrender comes in. The agent, Jasmine, reveals that the owner is in a massive, massive hurry.
Why?
They need to sell right now. There is an urgency that has absolutely nothing to do with the buyer.
Maybe they're moving abroad or dealing with debts.
Who knows? But that extreme urgency has driven the price down to the floor.
So the market logic was completely broken by the seller's personal urgency.
Correct. And then came the meeting. The narrator and their spouse sit down with the owner of the villa.
And they just lay their cards on the table.
They are totally honest. They say, we love this house. We know in our bones it's ours, but we don't have all the cash up front.
We have these 2 old cars, and we have this little bit of savings.
This is the moment where usually any sane property owner says, get out of my house. I have 3 other buyers with cash waiting outside.
Usually, yeah.
Usually. But the owner really liked their energy.
Their vibe.
Their vibe. The source mentions the owner actually quoted a religious sentiment right there at the table.
What did he say?
Make it easy. Do not make it difficult. It's a principle of grace in business.
And so what does he do?
The owner, this total stranger, offers them a private payment plan.
No way.
He offers a further discount on the already low price. He basically facilitates the purchase in a way a bank never ever would.
He becomes the bank.
He says, "Don't sell your cars in a panic. You'll just lose money on them. We can wait. Pay me when you can."
That is just unheard of. That is divine intervention or extreme luck or whatever you want to call it.
It is. But the source argues very strongly that when you are in that high vibrational state, that state of total certainty and gratitude, you attract people who reflect that exact grace back to you.
The owner became an ally in their manifestation.
A co-creator.
So they got the dream villa, the Jasmine garden, the high-end neighborhood, all for the price of that small apartment they almost bought in Maltepe.
All because they waited for the better thing and trusted the completely impossible path.
It's an incredible story. It really is.
It's mind-blowing.
But I know what you, the listener, are thinking right now. You're thinking, okay, that's great for them. They got the house. But how do you keep that energy?
Right.
How do you not just slide back into being miserable the next time you get a flat tire?
Yeah.
Because the source talks about maintenance, doesn't it?
Yes. This isn't a one-and-done thing. You don't just get the house and stop. It's a total lifestyle change.
Part 6 covers this. The no-complaint diet.
The no-complaint diet.
Which, honestly, sounds kind of miserable. No complaining. Ever.
Zero tolerance. The source is very, very strict on this.
Really?
You cannot attract a high-frequency life, the villa, the joy, the abundance, while actively engaging in low-frequency talk.
And complaining is low frequency.
Complaining is considered the lowest of the low.
So no complaining about the traffic on the way to work.
None.
No complaining about the weather being terrible.
Oh.
No complaining about your mother-in-law. Zero. The logic here is that complaining immediately lowers your vibration frequency. It reinforces the reality of things are bad. And if you are reinforcing things are bad, you cannot simultaneously build things are amazing.
Exactly. You have to choose. You can be a victim or you can be a creator, but you absolutely cannot be both at the same time.
The source mentions a social consequence to this no complaining rule, which I actually found really funny, but very true.
Oh, yeah. You might suddenly run out of things to talk about with people.
Because we all bond over negativity.
It's our social currency.
Can you believe this weather? Did you see what that idiot politician said? My boss is a total nightmare. My back hurts.
Right. And if you remove all of that from your conversational toolkit, you might find a lot of awkward silence with your friends.
And what does the narrator say about that?
The narrator says, that is okay. Let there be silence. Or find new people.
That is a radical shift. That changes your whole social landscape.
It does. You stop resonating with people who only want to complain and commiserate.
You start resonating with people who talk about ideas and dreams and the future.
You curate your social circle by curating your own conversation.
And there was one more advanced technique mentioned in the source for when you really want to supercharge this whole process.
The expansion exercise.
Right. Tell us about that.
This is a specific meditation technique designed to broaden the container.
Broaden the container. What does that mean?
Sometimes we can't manifest big things because our energetic container is just too small. We are hyper-focused on our tiny physical bodies and our tiny daily problems.
So how do we expand it?
You close your eyes. You visualize your energy expanding beyond your skin, filling the entire room you're sitting in. You visualize seeing the room from above.
Okay.
Then you expand it further, filling the whole building, then the whole city, then the country.
You just keep zooming out.
Zooming out, expanding to the whole world, the solar system, the universe, until you are in what the source calls the void.
The void.
The place of nothingness and everythingness. In that void, all possibilities exist simultaneously.
The villa exists. The new job exists. Perfect health exists.
Yes. And you place the image of your specific desire right in the middle of that void, and you light it up.
So you bypass the limitations of the physical world entirely.
You go to the place where physics hasn't even happened yet. It's almost quantum thinking. You are collapsing the wave function in your favor.
That is deep. Okay, let's step back and unpack the implications of all this for the listener.
Let's do it.
Because we've walked through the steps. Forgiveness to clear the RAM, the notebook to write the code, the sleep audio to bypass the firewall, action despite logic, and then maintenance.
Yes, the full protocol.
But what stands out to you as the expert analyzing this about why this actually works, beyond the magic of the Jasmine?
What fascinates me the most is the total agency it gives the individual.
An agency.
Yes, we so often feel like helpless victims of the housing market or victims of our bank account balance or victims of our upbringing.
Right, we blame outside forces.
But this protocol says, no, your external reality is just a printout of your internal reality.
Change the code, change the printout.
Exactly. It puts the responsibility squarely 100% on you.
Which is incredibly empowering, but also kind of terrifying.
It is terrifying. Because if you can manifest the luxury villa, it implies you also manifested the crappy apartment you currently hate.
Oh, yeah. You have to own it all.
You have to take complete responsibility for the energy leaks you allowed. You have to take responsibility for the years you spent complaining and lowering your frequency.
That's a tough pill to swallow. And I think the consistency part is really what trips most people up.
Absolutely. The source mentioned doing this for 21 days minimum.
Why 21 days?
21 days is the generally accepted biological threshold for neuroplasticity. It's the time it takes to start forming new neural pathways in the brain.
You can't just go to the gym once and expect a six-pack.
And you can't visualize a villa once and expect it to magically appear. The narrator did this morning and night, plus the sleep audio, plus the behavioral changes, plus ignoring reality.
It was basically a full-time job.
That's the catch. Everyone says manifesting is free. And monetarily, it is free, but it costs intense focus. It costs discipline. It costs getting weird looks from your spouse when you start talking to a notebook with a crown on it. And it costs the comfort of your old grievances. You have to permanently give up the right to be a victim. You have to give up the fun of complaining at the water cooler.
That is a really high price for some people.
It is.
Some of us really love our misery more than we actually want to change. We identify deeply with our struggles.
We do. We say, I am the person who always struggles with money. If you change that code to, I'm the person who succeeds easily, you lose your old identity.
You grieve your old self.
That can be very scary. But the payoff, as we see with the Jasmine Villa, is clearly worth it.
I want to circle back to the Jasmine thing one more time before we wrap up, because to me, that is the proof in the pudding.
It is.
It's the one detail that logic just can't quite explain away.
It's the wink from the universe.
The wink.
It's the signal that you are directly on the right track. Carl Jung called it synchronicity.
A causal connecting principle.
Exactly. Meaningful coincidences. When you see a synchronicity like that, finding a Jasmine-filled house through an agent literally named Jasmine right after writing about Jasmine for weeks.
It's not just blind luck?
No, it's alignment. It's the universe saying, message received, proceed.
So if you're listening right now and you're sitting there thinking, okay, I want to try this, where do they start? Tonight?
Start with the detox.
Don't skip straight to the notebook.
Do not skip step one. Grab a blank piece of paper. Ask yourself, who are you still mad at?
What are you mad at yourself for?
Write it all down, burn it safely, flush the ashes down the toilet, close the parenthesis.
Clear the RAM.
Clear the RAM. Then tomorrow, go buy the notebook. Don't use an old one from your desk drawer. Buy a brand new one. Make it special.
And write your entry in the past tense.
Always past tense. It happened.
And then you have to dare to mute the TV of your mind.
When it inevitably says you're crazy or you're broke, just say, thanks for sharing, and keep writing.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. It totally disarms the fear without fighting it.
It does.
You know, what's really inspiring about this whole case study is that it wasn't someone with special industry connections.
Yeah.
Or a secret trust fund. It was someone who was arguably in a worse financial position than many people starting out.
They had the impossible staring them right in the face.
And they blinked.
They refused to accept the impossible as the final truth. They treated reality as if it were entirely malleable.
And it turns out it was.
It turns out it was. The difference between wanting and knowing is the entire bridge.
The narrator moved from, I really hope I get a house, to, I know I already have the house, even when the bank account explicitly said zero.
That cognitive shift is the actual magic.
So here's my final question for you listening to us right now. If you could treat your logical mind, that nagging, sensible, be realistic voice, like an annoying TV show running in the background.
Just mute it.
If you could just hit mute on that TV for 21 days, what impossible thing would you dare to write in your notebook tonight?
That is the big question.
Would it be a house? A massive leap in your career? A deeply fulfilling relationship, or maybe just absolute internal peace?
Whatever it is, be highly specific about it.
And don't forget the Jasmine.
Don't forget the Jasmine.
Thank you for diving deep with us today. This has been an absolutely wild ride through the mechanics of the impossible.
Always a pleasure to be here.
We'll see you on the next deep dive. Until then, keep writing.
And keep believing.